What's up guys, today we're going to be finally going over the Bastion in PvE, which is the new exotic fusion rifle from Quarters of Time, or you can now just get it from Saint 14 in the tower. And if you didn't see, I just recently moved, so I'm now settled in and ready to start uploading again, and also a surprise tomorrow. So first, looking at the perks on this weapon, the first perk right there pretty much just says it shoots like a shotgun. Then the second perk, Breakthrough, portion of this weapon's damage bypasses elemental shields. So a few things you'll notice right off the bat when using this weapon is it charges like a fusion rifle, but once fully charged, it shoots almost like 3 shotgun shots per charge. So it almost has like the damage of a shotgun, but it charges like a fusion rifle and has the range of a fusion rifle. And one funny Easter egg with this weapon is each shot shoots 7 pellets in the exact shape of a hexagon, which was important to the Quarters of Time puzzle. So for every charged shot of this fusion rifle, you're going to be shooting 21 shotgun pellets. Then the second perk of this weapon is it bypasses elemental shields. It doesn't get the full damage through it, but as you see, it starts chunking on the actual health bar before the shield is gone, which I guess is pretty nice. And look at the damage on Greg. It hits 33,275 per shot. And now look at the rate of fire over 1 magazine, so 4 shots or 12 of like the shotgun shots. See how long that takes? It takes 5.674 seconds. Which is gonna mean over 1 magazine it's gonna do 23,458 DPS, which is not very good for a special weapon at all. It's actually pretty average, if not on the lower side of the average. Now if we do 2 magazines and throw in 1 reload with max reload speed on this weapon, it's gonna take quite a bit longer. Shooting off the last 2 shots at 12.7 seconds on the dot, which means 20,961 DPS, which is borderline a primary. Some of the primaries in the game, for example, Sidearms and Recluse, actually do a little bit higher than that. This weapon without any reserve perks also holds 15 ammo, which is actually one of its strong suits at almost 500,000 total damage output, which is very good for a special weapon. Only a select few of the other meta special weapons in the game are in the 400k range. So what we determined so far is this weapon is not necessarily great for DPS, but it does hit really hard per shot, which means it's going to be very good for major clear and stuff like that. But if we talk about just regular ad clear, just for red bars and whatnot, it's not necessarily that great. You can make it work if things are in a line, or you can quickly whip your mouse around if you're on PC. But even at that, it's not that great and doesn't have that much ammo, and you're going to find yourself running out of that ammo very quickly if you use it on red bars. What you can do to help this out is use my why use a primary build. If you haven't seen it, I will go ahead and link it in the description so you can see exactly how the whole build works. But the main perk heavy handed right here is pretty much when you're surrounded, you're going to be getting ammo back for fusion rifles, sidearms, shotguns, and things like that. So using Bastion and actually pairing it with a sidearm this time, I usually pair it with a shotgun and a fusion, but I like the sidearm a little bit better for this. And this will at least help with the ammo situation and allow you to use this weapon more frequently for ad clear than also major clear. It won't necessarily make it great for those situations, but it'll make it at least more usable. So recapping what we've learned so far, it's not good for DPS. It's definitely not good for ad clear. It can be usable in some situations, but not really. Then for major clear, it's pretty much its only strength so far. Because of the fact it does so much damage per shot, it's gonna be able to kill most majors in that one shot, which is very good. But most special weapons in the game are good for major clear. That's kind of like a given. And what makes some special weapons better than others is the fact that I can do more on top of that. For example, Loaded Question has really good major clear, but then on top of that, it's gonna have some of the best ad clear in the game. With that Reservoir Burst, as you see, it can kill majors easily from range, just like Bastion, if not multiple majors per shot. Then on top of that, I mean, up there with some of the best ad clear weapons ever in Destiny. Then if we're talking exotic fusion rifles, you can also use Telesto, which is all around one of the best fusions in the game. Really good single target damage, really good major clear, really good ad clear. It does a little bit of everything very, very well. So for PvE, there's pretty much no reason to ever use Bastion over Telesto because it just does everything that Bastion does, but a little bit more. If you just wanted pure single target damage, you can also use something like Merciless, which is going to shoot quicker and quicker without reloading or getting a kill. And it's kind of hard to see what damage you're actually hitting because each number is not the exact same with this weapon. So roughly 32.5 thousand DPS over each magazine, and every time you reload, it's on reset that rate of fire. So you're going to be doing roughly that DPS over the entire reserves. And real quick before we get to our PvE conclusion, my PvP review of this weapon is it's very strong. If you play around the gun correctly, it's very strong. You kind of have to let people push into you or pre-fire going around corners. But if you do that, it's going to be very, very good. But at the same time, this weapon is a lot like something like Lord of Wolves and Jotun to me, where they have a very low skill ceiling and a pretty small skill gap, which means pretty much anyone can pick up this weapon or one of the other two I mentioned and be very good with it. but if you're a really good player, the difference won't be that much compared to those worse players. So in those higher tier lobbies in PvP in this game, this weapon won't be as big of an issue as it is in those lower skill games where something like this is going to be very good compared to someone using Mindbenders, for example. But for the better players, Mindbenders will win almost every single time. Let me know if that makes sense to you guys. I'm sure there's a lot of other PvP YouTubers that have already made a review on this, so definitely go check theirs out. But I feel like that quick review pretty much sums up exactly how this weapon is in PvP. Anyways, back to my final PvE conclusion. Does it suck? I would have to say yeah. It doesn't really achieve anything that most specials can't do anyways. It's not great DPS, it's not great ad clear, it is good major clear, but most special weapons in the game are good at major clear. And this one only has 15 ammo, which is on the lower side of ammo reserves for special weapons. So there's pretty much no reason to not use one of those other fusion rifles I mentioned, or even a shotgun or a sniper, and all those things are to be just as good at major clear as this, but probably better in some of the other categories. For example, DPS for snipers, or something like loaded question, Telesto, or a shotgun will be better ad clear. And overall, that's the main issue I see with this weapon. It's not necessarily great at anything, so why use an exotic over a legendary when the legendary can pretty much do the exact same thing? Anyways, it's a very well designed weapon, it has a cool animation, it looks good, all that fun stuff, but it just doesn't feel good, and the numbers kind of back that up. The rest of the video will just be the remaining of this PvP gameplay and strike gameplay. Anyways, thanks for watching, catch you guys next time.